It's 2 in the morning. 3 monitors glow in the dark. Your eyes burn from 7 straight hours of screen time, and you're still holding that fifth trade of the session, watching it bleed red tick by tick. Coffee cup number 4 sits cold beside your trading journal. Pages filled with notes, analysis, arrows connecting support to resistance like you're solving a murder. You tell yourself this is what separates the winners from the losers. The willingness to grind when everyone else is sleeping. You wake at 5 for pre-market analysis. You watch every YouTube video on price action, volume profile, order flow. You backtest strategies for hours, marking up hundreds of charts. You journal every single trade with screenshots and emotional notes. You stay up reading trading psychology books, highlighting passages about discipline and patience. You check charts during lunch break, during dinner, right before bed. Your friends think you're obsessed. You think you're committed. There's a difference, right? Except your account is down 18% this quarter. Despite working harder than you've ever worked. Despite more knowledge than when you started a year ago. Despite better strategies, tighter risk management, cleaner execution. You're doing everything right. You're putting in the hours. You're analyzing more, studying more, trading with the discipline everyone says you need. So why the hell are you still losing? Here's what makes it worse. You look around trading communities and you see the same pattern everywhere. Every losing trader you know works incredibly hard, constantly analyzing, constantly learning, constantly in the market. They're grinding 12-hour days, taking 20 to 30 trades a week, optimizing every indicator setting like their life depends on it. Meanwhile, the profitable traders you know seem almost lazy by comparison. They take 5 trades a week, maybe 8. They spend 15 hours on charts, not 60. They talk more about golf than Fibonacci extensions. One guy you know just posted his monthly results, up 47%. You messaged him asking about his routine. His response? 2 to 3 hours a day, maximum. He sleeps 8 hours. You sleep 5, if you're lucky, because positions keep you awake. The hardest working traders are losing. The ones who barely seem to try are winning. It doesn't make sense. Why does more effort lead to worse results? What are they doing that you're not? But here's what most traders don't realize. Effort and results aren't just unrelated in trading. They're often inversely correlated. The harder you work, the worse you perform. And your brain is wired in a way that makes this trap almost impossible to see. Your brain evolved over 200,000 years to solve one simple equation. More effort equals better results. Hunt harder, eat more, work harder, build better shelter, gather more, survive winter. This is burned into your neural circuitry so deep you don't even question it. It's not a belief. It's how you're wired. But trading breaks that equation completely. More trades don't equal more profit. More analysis doesn't equal better decisions. More screen time doesn't equal better timing. In fact, the opposite is often true. And your brain can't process this without short-circuiting. Here's what's really happening. When you spend 6 hours analyzing a setup, marking levels, checking multiple time frames, confirming with indicators, your brain creates massive psychological attachment to that trade. Psychologists call this effort justification bias. It's the same reason furniture you build yourself feels more valuable than furniture you buy. The IKEA effect. Your brain says, I invested this much effort, therefore this must be important, therefore I cannot be wrong. So you hold losers too long because walking away feels like wasting your work. You overtrade because sitting out feels like wasting your preparation. You can't let go even when price action screams you're wrong because your ego is now wrapped up in the outcome. A study by Barber and Odean analyzed thousands of trading accounts and found something brutal. The traders who traded most frequently underperformed the market by 6.5% annually. The most active 20% had the worst returns. Not slightly worse, the worst. Meanwhile, the traders who barely traded at all outperformed significantly. But here's the paradox your brain struggles with. Activity feels like progress. Sitting and waiting feels like laziness. Your brain rewards you with dopamine when you're doing something, because for 200,000 years, doing something usually kept you alive. In trading, doing something usually gets you killed. Think about two traders. The first works 60 hours a week, takes 25 trades, checks charts 100 times a day, sleeps 5 hours because he's thinking about positions. Down 18% this year. The second works 15 hours a week, takes 6 trades, checks charts 3 times a day at scheduled times, sleeps 8 hours because his positions are sized to allow it. Up 47% this year. What feels right is constant vigilance, maximum effort. What actually works is selective patience, strategic stillness. This is where most traders make the fatal mistake. They double down on effort when they should be cutting back. They mistake activity for productivity. They work themselves into exhaustion while their accounts bleed, convinced that just a little more analysis, just a few more hours, just one more trade will turn it around. It won't. Here's the brutal truth about what happens when you keep grinding. Month 1, you work 60 hours and lose 5%. You tell yourself you just need to analyze more, add another indicator, watch one more time frame. Month 2, you work 70 hours and lose 7%. Now, you're convinced you're missing something fundamental, so you study order flow, footprint charts, market microstructure. Month 3, you work 80 hours and lose 10%. You're exhausted. Every trade carries the weight of the previous losses. Every loss demands revenge. Every win makes you overconfident. The pattern is crystal clear to everyone except you. More effort, worse results. More effort, worse results, spiraling down. Let's talk about the real costs. If you're taking 30 trades a week at $10 per trade in fees and commissions, that's $15,600 per year in costs alone. Add slippage from overtrading during low liquidity moments. Add the poor executions you make when you're fatigued. If you cut your trades by 75% and kept the same win rate, you'd be profitable just from fee reduction. Then there's time. 60 hours per week for 52 weeks is 3,120 hours per year. That's 398-hour workdays. More than a full-time job. Time away from family, health, relationships, sleep. For negative returns. This is where it gets ugly. Watch how one mistake compounds into total destruction. You overtrade because sitting still feels wrong. Decision fatigue sets in after trade 15. You make an emotional mistake on trade 18. You try to recover with larger size. Revenge trading. That larger loss triggers panic. You stay up late analyzing what went wrong. Sleep deprived the next day. You make more mistakes. The cycle repeats, accelerating downward. Research shows decision quality drops 37% after more than 4 hours of active trading. You're making your worst decisions when you think you're working hardest. Here's the prop firm death spiral. You're on a challenge. Can't exceed 5% daily loss. You take 8 trades in one session. By trade 6, you're fatigued and down 3%. You should stop, but you feel like you need to recover. Trade 7 and 8 blow the challenge at negative 5.2%. You failed because you worked too hard. Meanwhile, another trader took 2 trades, went up 2%, and stopped for the day. Same opportunity. Opposite approach. Different outcome. But there's a way out. And it starts with understanding that trading is not a test of effort. It's a test of judgment. And judgment requires rest, selectivity, and the courage to do nothing when nothing is the right move. The solution isn't to work harder. It's to work less, but with surgical precision. Professional traders don't grind 60 hours a week. They wait, prepare, execute, and recover. Trading is 90% waiting and 10% executing. If you're busy all the time, you're doing it wrong. Here's the framework that actually works. First, set a hard limit. No more than 5 trades per day, 15 per week maximum. This forces selectivity. When you only have 5 bullets, you don't shoot at shadows. You wait for the clean shot. Your brain assigns more value to scarce resources. If trades are unlimited, they feel worthless. If they're limited, each one matters. Second, trade only during predefined windows. 2 to 3 hours maximum. Maybe 9:30 to 11:30 in the morning, then screens off. Or 2 to 3:30 in the afternoon. That's it. Fresh cognitive state. Zero emotional late-day trades. Research shows traders perform best in their first 2 hours when alertness and emotional control are highest. Rest between sessions isn't laziness. It's strategy. Third, measure your process, not your profit and loss. Journal one question after every trade. Did I follow my rules? Yes or no. Not how much you made, not what could have been. Winning traders track setup quality, rule adherence, emotional state. Losing traders track dollar amounts and torture themselves with what-ifs. You're worried you'll miss opportunities. You will. That's fine. There's another one tomorrow. Missing a win costs nothing. Taking a bad trade costs everything. You think you'll get bored with less screen time? Good. Boredom means you're not overtrading. Boredom is your edge. Use that time for backtesting, journaling, or living your actual life. You think professionals watch markets all day. Wrong. They watch for specific setups, execute, then leave. Market makers are different. They provide liquidity. You're directionally trading. Different game entirely. The traders who survive understand something the grinders never learn. More effort doesn't equal better results. Better judgment equals better results. And judgment requires a rested mind, selective execution, and the discipline to do nothing when conditions aren't right. The market rewards patience and selectivity, not hours logged or trades taken. That's the only work that matters.